Hey, you all, Carpetbagger here, coming to you live from the South. More specifically, we are in Atlanta, Georgia. Even more specifically than that, we are back in Little 5 Points. Last time I was here was for the Halloween parade where the streets were shut down. The massive parade came through, people dressed in costumes. It was mass chaos, but it was a lot of fun. And back then, while I was at the Halloween festival and parade, I tried to get a table here at the Vortex. It was an hour-and-a-half wait, just there are so many people out here. So I stayed in Atlanta last night after doing the Oddities Museum, visiting the Oddities Museum yesterday. So I figured we'd come back over here to the Vortex, kind of a legendary bar and burger joint here in Atlanta. They have some really good burgers. It's been years and years since I've been here, and I've been kind of revisiting restaurant burgers. You know, not as much fast food, but like sit-down restaurant burgers over the last little bit. Just remembering how good a burger can actually be, and this is definitely known as one of the best burger places in Atlanta. So please follow me. You see that iconic entrance there, the skull with the twirling eyes. Let's head through this skeletal mouth and get us a burger. And here we are. Looks like they're still celebrating Day of the Dead. That was November 1st, I believe. I didn't even notice coming in, but there's a butler there hanging from the ceiling. He's got a mask on and a Pabst Blue Ribbon. I think we'll be grabbing a table right here. A lot of stuff hanging from the ceiling. We've got planes. There's like a little car there, and a tricycle. See that wacky skull there on the menu. And of course, they are known for their burgers. They have a lot of interesting burgers, a lot of variation. These are all the different burgers here. We've got this is a Kamana Wanalea burger. It's like a scoop of chipotle cream cheese, bacon, and spicy pineapple jalapeno jelly. That sounds pretty amazing. They have Pickle Rick, it's topped with fried pickles, pimento cheese, and bacon. Oh my gosh, yes, so many. Oh my gosh, this one has pulled pork on it, the Rebel Outlaw. Man, yeah, I wish I could get just a couple of them to try them out. This is the Four Horsemen. It's a blackened patty topped with horseradish sauce, grilled onions. Oh man, but I wanted to go for something like really interesting. So I'm zoning in on the Fat Elvis, which is slathered with a king-size helping of peanut butter topped with bacon and fried plantains. I actually really love peanut butter on burgers, especially with bacon. So I think we're going to try that one. And you can get the burger cooked to temperature all the way down to rare. Man, you know, I don't like my burgers cooked all the way through. I like a lot of pink in my burgers. Rare, maybe it'd be safer to go with medium rare. I usually get my steaks between rare and medium rare. Sometimes I feel like a rare steak. Sometimes go with medium rare. I also like this on the back of the menu. Stuff you really need to know. They have a zero tolerance for nonsense here. They've declared it an idiot-free zone. Basically, they're saying be nice to your servers. Yeah, servers are people too, or they will not tolerate you. You gotta give respect to get respect. Definitely thing. Yeah, there's even says tip or die, saying to if you can't afford to tip, you can't afford to eat here. And my burger has arrived. The Fat Elvis. See the bacon? Underneath the bacon, there's the plantains. Kind of like a banana. Then a big glob of peanut butter. Then I ordered the medium rare burger. Let's actually cut into it so you can see how pink it is. Oh yeah, look at that. You can see how pink that is. That's about perfect, I think. And just look at that pinkness there. That is about perfect. I think that's about the exact color I want my burger to look. Let's dig in. We got the plantain, peanut butter, bacon, beef. Love the peanut butter. Even the plantains are a little less sweet than bananas. Something about bacon and peanut butter go so good together. My mom used to make BLTs with peanut butter. Oh, they were excellent. That's perfect. Yeah, one of the best burgers you can get in Atlanta. Although I must say, with all that peanut butter, you kind of got to take smaller bites and chew more. That sticky peanut butter. So that was a very, very delicious burger. Ate all my tater tots too. Yeah, I definitely want to come back here and try some of those other burgers on the menu. I've come down here to downtown Atlanta, out here in front of the Georgia State Capitol building. Of course, Atlanta, the capital of Georgia. And I love checking out the different state capitol buildings. This one has a museum inside. So I figure we stop by and check in with the museum. There's a nondescript public entrance over here. We enter here to Georgia Capitol building. One of the first things we see is this tableau of turkeys. The Hall of Fame here for the Georgia military veterans. There's a little alcove here. Okay. An American flag. Okay, in this room I guess we have the Georgia Historic Flag Collection. This is the 48th Brigade Combat Team Battle Flag. This is a World War I era flag, as these are all military flags carried by different military brigades. This one's from the Spanish-American War. Yeah, it's almost like the whole Capitol building is a museum. This is springtime on the Suwannee from Fargo, Georgia. See some water birds there by the river. Up here on the second floor, a lot of different portraits and some statues. Who is this a statue of? This is Benjamin Harvey Hill. As like the rotunda area, although you can't see into the actual dome. And amongst all of these politicians, you see Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. painting hanging in the Georgia Capitol building. Bet he did not imagine that while he was alive. Here we go. Here we can see up into the rotunda. I will be completely honest, I don't know who most of these busts are. But I do know who this is. This is my old friend, Button Gwinnett. He was the president of Georgia back when Georgia used to have presidents. Not the country Georgia, but actually the state of Georgia, president of the state of Georgia. I think he was one of the only presidents of the state of Georgia. But his claim to fame is he has the most valuable autograph in the world. Now you must say, why? Who's Button Gwinnett? Why does he have the most famous autograph? There's all these other people, all these other busts. What makes this guy so special? What did he even do? Well, one thing he did is he signed the Declaration of Independence. But you must say, yeah, but a lot of people signed the Declaration of Independence. Why? What makes him so special? You know, all like John Hancock and all those other famous people signed it. Why does he have a more valuable signature? Well, because he was the most obscure person to sign the Declaration of Independence. There's not a lot of examples of his handwriting. He had a short political career, and he actually died in a duel. He was dueling someone and lost the duel. So some people with a lot of spare money, they like to collect the autographs of all the signers of the Declaration of Independence. Like find different letters or different writings that they did, and that's the holy grail, is to have the whole collection, every signer of the Declaration of Independence. But Button Gwinnett, his is the hardest to find. He didn't sign very much stuff. He wasn't that important in the whole scheme of things. But by not being important, he became the most important. Well, they said the museum exhibits are on the 4th floor, so we'll take the elevator up there. 2, 4, floor number 4. Up here on the 4th floor, they have some exhibits about the state of Georgia, and some very interesting exhibits. Now, I love going to the different state capitals, and some of them are better than others. I think this right here shows why this is one of the best state capitals to visit, because it may be the only state capital that has a 2-headed calf in the capital. I did see about 8,000 2-headed calves yesterday, so it softens the impact a little bit. A lot of 2-headed calves in Georgia. You can come see one at the Capitol Museum, and then you can see about 500 of them at the Oddities Museum, Rainy Day Revival. Yeah, it talks about how the Capitol was started as kind of a natural history museum inside, but it says that when they started displaying some oddities, they became very popular, such as the 2-headed calf. It says this was born in 1987 in Palmetto, and they also have a 2-headed snake there. If you zoom in, you can see 2 little heads. Unfortunately, they don't have this display anymore. It says they had some novelty display. So at one point in the Capitol Museum, they had a tableau of squirrels shooting pool, playing poker, and playing the guitar. Sadly, I don't know where that is. Maybe it's in storage. They do have this flying squirrel here, though. Here's some baseball from the Little League World Series. Apparently, in 2006-2007, Georgia won the World Championship in Little League. Here's some moon rocks from Apollo 11. Some teeny tiny moon rocks. Also, this Georgia state flag was actually carried onto the moon. So one of the few Confederate flags to ever be on the moon. Some folk art here: the woven basket and the face jug. Now, I've been told before that the face jugs, the reason they exist is because if they have moonshine or something in them, they put a scary face to keep kids away from it. But apparently these were both part of the Olympics, the 1996 Olympics. They said they had a Georgia cultural exhibit there, so these were displayed at the 1996 Olympics. This is a 219-pound meteorite. That's not, it's pretty big, but it's just think about how dense that is. It looks like a solid metal, 219 pounds of metal, landed in Social Circle, Georgia. Have a Mississippian Native American chief there. And you can see here all these items. This case was full of Native American items, but there are none. Every single one has been removed from the case as objects temporarily removed, talking about the Native American Graves Protection and Reparation Act. Now that act was passed a few years back, and what it means is that museums, in order to display certain Native American items, especially anything related to funeral or funerary practices, they have to work in conjunction with the actual tribes to display them. And I definitely understand and agree that the tribes should definitely have a say in how their culture is portrayed, especially given that they've just been left out of the process for so long. But I do hope that some agreements can be reached to display items, because I don't, you don't want it to like create a gap where there is, where there just isn't education out there about the individual tribes. Because I've been seeing that, just a lot of this items removed, and again, I completely understand why they're removing them. I just hope that we can come together to have Native American exhibits return. Some museums, like I think one in Colorado, actually made the decision to just eliminate their Native American exhibit. And you definitely would think that's not the direction that they are going in, that they just want to eliminate whole exhibits, but to be just a more even and accurate portrayal. Some tableaus of the water birds. Seems like there's a lot of birds here in the Capitol. Oh, is that a red-winged blackbird? When I was a kid, I was told that they were a scary bird, that they would chase you. My cousins told me you had to watch out for these. Then I remember being chased by one, and I remember being most terrifying experience of my life. Birds have a view down into the rotunda. Here are Georgia's state symbols. The state seashell being the knobbed whelk. The right whale is the state marine mammal. Of course, you can't have a whale here in the Capitol Museum. State fossil is the shark's tooth. And you can actually find a lot of shark's teeth like around the Savannah area. The state fish, the largemouth bass. The state fruit, peaches, of course. The state vegetable is the Vidalia onions. Oh, I wish they had Yumyan, the Vidalia onion, represented somewhere in the museum. The honeybee is the state insect, and the state crop, which is different than the state fruit or the state vegetable, is the peanut. Maybe a controversial statement, but you could argue that South Carolina actually is the peach state. Georgia calls itself the peach state, but more peaches are grown in South Carolina. Peanuts are actually more to me, more associated with Georgia. Peanut farms. A lot of peanuts come from Georgia, and you can't deny those delicious Vidalia onions. The gopher tortoise is the state reptile. Brown thrasher is the state bird. The bobwhite quail is the state game bird. That seems like cheating. They have two different state birds. The starlight crystal is the state mineral, and these are known as fairies crosses. The legend here down in the south, especially like in the mountains where I live, is that the fairies actually cried these crosses caused by their tears when Jesus was executed on the cross. That all the fairies cried these little tears that turned into these crosses. Here's the state flag. In 2003, they actually changed this. I moved to the south in 2000, and they changed this. When I first moved here, it was the Confederate flag model, the one we saw that was on the moon, and I think they basically did this to get rid of the Confederate flag on the state flag. And the state song, Georgia on My Mind, by Ray Charles. Some more birds here. We got the bald eagle, America's representative bird. There are two bald eagles here in the Georgia State Capitol building. And it is the state capitol, so no separating from politics. They have an exhibit on politics and voting in Georgia. Here's an old ballot box from Ben Hill County. Talks about the increased diversity in politics in Georgia. And it says that after the Civil War, Georgia was dominated by Democrats. And it wasn't until 2005 that Republicans became the majority. So it just kind of shows you, there's always an ebb and flow, a change. I think we kind of see things as being like stable, as like how we remember them or how we see them. But they always shift and change. There's always a tide to politics. Got a rope here, so I don't want to get too close, but you can see in there one of the chambers where laws in Georgia are voted upon. Different political movements in Georgia, about the agriculture strike. It says that this is a pair of shoes. These were left on the Capitol of this building to protest gun violence. As I guess a pair of shoes left for each person who died from gun violence. Now this section is sectioned off, so it looks like I don't know. It could be security reasons. They could be doing work. Who knows? But you can't go in this part of the museum right now. Well, you can get a little peek there at kind of a replica of the rotunda. Some miniature dioramas over here. This is peach packing. You can see the peach farms there in the background, dumping the bushels of peaches into this peach sorting machine in the baskets and being shipped off by train. Oh, look at that. You can see the train, the little miniature train moving in the background. Oh, that's wild. This is a really cool diorama. A little mini train. Oh, snap. These dioramas were from the World Fair. The 1939 New York World Fair. All the coolest stuff comes from the World Fair. I'm telling you guys, we need to have another one. And here is a diorama on how turpentine is produced. Now, I don't know that much about turpentine. I know it's used in paint removers. So, you can't just have paint be up forever. You got to remove it at some point. So you got to put these workers hard at work getting turpentine out of these trees. Oh, it's a farming exhibit. Some of the different vegetables. You got peaches, you got peanuts, but apparently there's a whole bunch of other stuff. Beans, eggs, turnips. This drone was used for monitoring cotton plants for genetic research at University of Georgia. Man, I really wish I could fly my drone again. Probably never going to happen. Got a bear in here. I got that big Georgia black bear. We got a Canadian goose here. They get called Canadian geese, but they sure do hang out in the United States a lot. Here we got an armadillo. We've got a little bunny there, but he needs to watch out because there's a vicious hawk about 2 inches from his head in the ongoing battle between the vicious and the adorable. There's a box of rocks. Of course, granite. Granite's important to Georgia. They make a lot of things out of granite here. Some fossils here. Of course, the state fossil, the shark's teeth. But we also have mammoth teeth, some manatee teeth up here, and some giant horse teeth. A lot of ancient teeth. Talks about Georgia's constitutional officers, different positions here in the state government, like the state school superintendent and what their duties are. The books here. Secretary of State, the Commissioner of Labor, and now this is pretty fun. We've got an actual roller coaster wheel here from Six Flags Over Georgia. This is a wheel from the Scream Machine roller coaster at Six Flags Over Georgia. Yeah, I think it's called the Great American Scream Machine. It's terrifying. It's a terrifying wooden roller coaster. I think it's really cool though. They do have the the coaster wheel here in the Capitol. So yeah, I don't know. There's like a whole another section of the museum that's just kind of cut off by these ropes. I don't know if it's ever open or if they just keep this area closed now. And we are going to end our day here in Atlanta by going for a walk in the woods. A little trail through the woods here in Atlanta known as Doll's Head Trail. And it's not just called that for no reason. This is a site of a former dump. And because of that, it is strewn with different pieces of garbage, including lots of dolls that have shown up in the dump. And because of that, you know, when they find the garbage, the debris, both from the dump and left here by hooligans, they turn it into strange art, incorporating a lot of dolls' heads. Therefore, the trail was dubbed Doll's Head Trail. We're gonna walk out this way and find that particular trail. But it is a nice little peaceful place in Atlanta, away from the hustle and bustle of the city. I've not seen any dolls yet, but there is this horrifying clown face painted on a tree. A wooden walkway here that looks out onto Constitution Lake. And as we get deeper into the woods, we're now on a dirt path. Okay. I guess this is the sign for Doll's Head Trail. I guess it's Doll's Head Trail is it's forward. This way. Okay, maybe I took a wrong turn. I don't see any doll's heads. There's a train track right there. See if we can get reorientated. I'm starting to worry that Doll's Head Trail may be something of the past. Not seeing any doll heads whatsoever. Oh yeah, this is, I can remember this. So they used to have art here. And they don't. Has Doll's Head Trail become something that's not here anymore? Okay, I'm seeing some remnants. Here. Okay, that counts. That's a doll there. It's a doll with a cat's head. It says, "Why not stand here all night talking to yourself?" Yeah, I wonder the same thing, buddy. And here's some more garbage and dolls. So yeah, they would like construct like elaborate sculptures out of the dolls, out of the garbage. They'd have different messages, some political messages on the dolls. I'm thinking that there's not a lot left of old Doll's Head Trail. Yeah, I'm on the lookout for doll's heads now. See, that's a pretty creepy doll's head. That's nice and creepy, right? Okay, so Doll's Head Trail still here. I know something may have happened to a large portion of the dolls, but we still have Doll's Head Trail with the message there: kids can't vote. I think maybe just a lot of the artwork, maybe kind of a temporary exhibits. I think maybe just the elements being outside has reduced a lot of them. See, there's a old bowling ball there, and there's a doll's head. A gnome in a tree. Okay, maybe we're just not all the way in to Doll's Head Trail yet. Points this way. Says this is the Doll's Head Trail loop. Bob around clockwise to see the trail. Please add to the trail only items found in the park. Now that's been an issue, is they don't want people actually bringing garbage into the woods. This is all about garbage already found in the woods. It says keep it friendly in content and construction. No broken glass or jagged metal. Okay, so I think this is the official Doll's Head Trail. Oh yeah, you can see in the crotch of this tree, this one's jammed a doll's head in there. There's a little Elmo shredding on his guitar. There's a ray in the tree. So Doll's Head Trail lives. I'm glad. I was getting worried there that it had been removed, but it looks like, you know, the weather has taken its toll, has broken down a lot of the sculptures. So in kind of way, it went from strewn garbage. They took that strewn garbage, they made art out of it, and then the art was kind of broken down by the elements. And because they don't allow you to bring in outside elements to add to the art, I guess that kind of slows it from being rebuilt. So in some way, you know, the trash is created, the trash is turned into art, the art decomposes and becomes one with the forest. You can go this way to see the South Boardwalk. And walk out here onto the lake. You can see some fish swimming below the surface of the water. Unfortunately, we don't have alligators this far north in Georgia. A very small smattering of lovelocks. Back on the Doll Trail. Oh, there's a little Barbie-style doll walking her rabbit. You can make out the message on this one. It's a symbolic shoe department. It says stop killing of our children. Actually, remember we saw this at the Capitol where they're talking about the shoes being used to show the deaths due to guns in the area. That's a fresh rose. Yeah, I got a little worried there at the beginning that Doll's Head Trail was gone, because that's something that happens here out on the American roadside. Some stuff disappears, stuff in nature decodes, roadside attractions close down, stuff gets forgotten about, people stop caring, and stuff disappears. Now, when I was here years ago, it was much more elaborate displays, but I'm still happy that Doll's Head Trail lives on here in Atlanta, an iconic spot here in Atlanta, and I do still think it would be, if you stumbled upon this, not knowing what it was, maybe came here a little later in the day, I think this would be incredibly spooky. I don't know, this might be a good place for like a haunted trail or something like that. But the important thing is here is that an iconic local spot still exists. When I started this channel, I knew I was going to be documenting roadside attractions, documenting, local oddities and just places that are unusual, places off the beaten path. And I knew, making those videos, that in some way I was creating a record that those places existed once upon a time. But it wasn't until, years later, doing this for years and years, almost, it's been over 10 years now, in some ways, all along, I was just documenting the disappearance of these things. In some ways, it was a shift in American culture. A shift away from certain types of entertainment, different types of roadside attractions, different sites of quirkiness. Sometimes, when I'm feeling like a grumpy old man, I think, no one cares about roadside attractions anymore. No one cares about places like this anymore because it's become more and more involved. The internet, online, we kind of lose our affection for physical spaces and physical things. I don't know. I think that turn probably took place way before I even started this channel. The things that people like, the things that people like doing. And don't get me wrong, a lot of the new stuff that I show on this channel is great. I love new attractions. I'm not prejudiced against new stuff. I love, I think places like Meow Wolf and things like that, where it's just a new concept, new additions to the physical landscape of the American roadside. But very sad, looking over my channel, seeing stuff that's not here anymore. Again, Doll's Head Trail still here. It's not what it once was. I documented it once before, and at least once before, and there was dolls everywhere. Come back here, much reduced amount of art and that. And maybe someday I will come back out here and there won't be a single doll head out here in Doll Head's Trail. It just, it's inevitability. It's not like there's nothing I can do to stop that, or you can't stop progress. You can't stop the way people change, the way culture changes. It's like I guess in some ways, when I started this channel, to me it was like my love letter for this country, my love letter for the United States of America. But little did I know, I wasn't writing a love letter. The whole time I was writing its obituary. And I have successfully made it back to my car. And I'm going to get inside this car. I'm going to drive this car back to North Carolina, back to my home. Gonna be at home maybe 2 more days or so. And next plan that I have in store is to be at the chili cook-off in Gatlinburg. If you guys see me there, feel free to say hello, grab a selfie. I'm completely okay with people coming up and saying hello. But it should be fun. They're going to be doing it on the parkway again, not in a parking lot this year. So I'm really excited about that. After that, things are going to get serious. Going to be headed to Orlando Central Florida. My kind of my yearly trip to Central Florida. I take more than one trip to Florida a year, but this is my November trip to Florida. I always go to Florida in November to attend IAAPA, the theme park trade show. So going to be going to Orlando. Going to be there for a little while. Want to kind of focus on doing some theme parks while I'm in for IAAPA. Kind of goes with, you know, with the IAAPA, the theme park convention. Maybe visit some of the great theme parks that Central Florida has to offer. And I'm not be going to Central Florida in the most direct route. I've got an idea. We'll see if that pans out. I've got a plan on how to get to Florida that's maybe a little unconventional. But stay tuned for that. Thank you. Thank you for coming along with me today. Got an excellent burger at Vortex. What did we learn? What did we learn today? We learned that peanut butter on a burger is delicious. It's a little harder to swallow. We learned that the Georgia state capitol is the only state capitol with a two-headed calf. And we learned that even in its reduced form, Doll's Head Trail is still creepy. If you like these videos, consider subscribing. I travel around the 50 United States filming roadside attractions, amusement parks, museums, haunted houses, and other fun, random stuff. If you'd like to help support the channel, consider contributing to Patreon. $3 or more will get you a postcard once a month from me to you. Also, if you'd like a souvenir, head over to the Etsy shop. We got motel key fobs, pressed pennies, enamel pins, other fun stuff. Still doing personalized messages on Cameo if you'd like to receive a message from me to you, to a friend, to a family member. All that can be found below. In fact, all those things, all those ways to support the channel can be found down below, and all those things help to keep this train on the track, this boat in the water, and this dirigible in the air. Until next time, my friends, this one's in the bag.